Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Magnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahaganaragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashadya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punyashavana Kirtana Ridyantastoya Bhadrani Vidunuti Suhritsatam Nasta Prayesva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Narayana, Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Oh. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the person of God who is praised with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Huge thunders.
Krishna Bodhanotram.
Krishna Subham Prabhu Dandapram Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Pranjal Prabhu Dandapram Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Rahul Prabhu. Hare Krishna everyone. Dandapram Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dhanvatna.
We have a huge thunderstorm starting. I need to quickly remove the electronics. Okay, who wants to start reading?
I will start, Prabhu. Praveen here.
Yes, thank you so much.
एवं कृष्णमतेर् ब्रह्मन् नासक्तस्या तस्यामलात्मनः कालः प्रदुरभूत काले तडित् सौदामणि यथा evam thus Krishna Matehe, one who is fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, Brahman, O Vyasadeva, not Asaktsaya, of one who is attached, Amalatmanaha, of one who is completely free from all material dirt, Kalaha, death, Pradura Bhoot, become visible, Kale, in the course of time, Tadit, lightning, Saudamani, illuminating, Yatha, as it is. Translation put by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
And so, O Brahman Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death, as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport. To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, has naturally no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That is the sign of spiritually enriched persons. And in due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection due to his body being spiritualized like a red hot iron in contact with fire.
Really interesting purport. Very well. All of a sudden, the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning. That's really interesting. And also, just now there was lightning in the outside. So at the same time, the first verse was about lightning, and outside there was lightning. Okay, please, Prabhu, continue. Haribol.
Okay. Text 28. प्रयुज्यमाने मयितां शुद्धां भागवतीं तनुम् आरब्धा कर्म निर्वाणो ज्ञापतत् पांच भौतिकः prayujyamane, having been awarded upon, mayi, on me, tam, that, suddham, transcendental, bhagavatim, fit for association with the personality of Godhead, tanum, body, arabdhya, acquired, karma, fruitive work, nirvana, prohibitive, Nyapatat, quit, Pancha Bhautikaha, body made of five material elements. Transcendental. Translation. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of five material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work karma stopped. Purport. Informed by the personality of Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Narada got his spiritual body as soon as he quitted his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with three primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of creative activities. The material body is always afflicted with these three inbreds. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. It acts like the magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of three qualitative modes of material nature upon the pure devotee. There are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of Godhead face to face, apparently in the same body. This means that the quality of the devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. That is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis via the authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from the Indra Gopa up to the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subjected to the law of karma and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their own work. But only the devotee is exempt from such reaction by the causeless mercy of the supreme authority, the personality of Godhead. Text 29. Kalpanta idam adaya sayane ambasi उदन्वतः शिष्य ईश्वर अनुप्राणम विविशे अंतर अहम विभोह kalpante at the end of Brahma's day idam this adaya taking together sayane having gone to lie down ambasi ambasi in the casual water udan vataha devastation Shishya Shishyashoh, lying of the personality of Godhead Narayana, Anupranam, breathing, Vivishe, entered into, Antah, within, Aham, I, Vibhoh, of Lord Brahma. Translation. At the end of the millennium, when the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, lies down within the water of devastation, Brahma begins to enter into him along with all creative elements, and I also enter through his breathing. Purport. Narada is known as the son of Brahma as Lord Krishna is known as the son of Vasudeva. The personality of Godhead and his liberated devotees like Narada appear in the material world by the same process. As it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, the birth and activities of the Lord are all transcendental. Therefore, according to authorized opinion, the birth of Narada as the son of Brahma is also a transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearance are practically on the same level as that of the Lord. The Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities. They belong to the same category of transcendence. Hmm. Text 30. Sahasrayuga Paryante उत्थायेदं सिसृक् शातः मरीचि मिश्र ऋषयः प्राणेभ्यो अहं च जज्ञीरे सहस्र 1000 युगा 4300 years paryante at the end of the duration uttaya having expired idam this shishkrishtatah desire to create again marichi mishraha rishis like marichi rashayaha all the rishis pranebhyaha out of his senses aham I cha also jijnire jajnire appeared. Translation. After 4300 solar years, Brahma awakens to create again by will of the Lord, and all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on are created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appear along with them. Okay. Purport. The duration of a day in the life of Brahma is 4320 solar years. It is stated also in the Bhagavad Gita. So, for this period, Brahmaji rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, the generator of Brahma. Thus, after the sleeping period of Brahma, when there is again creation by the will of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, all the great rishis again appear from different parts of the transcendental body, and Narada also appears. This means that Narada appears in the same transcendental body, just as a man awakens from sleep in the same body. Sri Narada is eternally free to move in all parts of the transcendental and material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without distinction of body and soul, unlike conditioned beings. Text 31. Antarbahishcha lokamstrin lokastrin paryami askandita व्रतः अनुग्रहान् महाविष्णोर्विघाता गतिः क्वचित् antah in the transcendental world, bahihi in the material world, cha and lokan planets, three divisions, paryemi travel, askandita unbroken, vratah wow, anugrahat by the causeless mercy, mahavishno of the mahavishnu, karanodaka sai vishnu, avighata without restriction, gatih entrance, kvachit at any time. Translation. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there are three divisions of the material spheres, namely the Urdhaloka, topmost planets, Madhyaloka, midway planets, and Adholoka, downward planets. And beyond the Urdhaloka planets, that is to say, above the Brahmaloka, there are the material coverings of the universes, and above that there is the spiritual sky, which is unlimited in expansion, containing unlimited self-illuminated Vaikuntha planets inhabited by God Himself, along with His associates, who are all eternally liberated living entities. Sri Narada Muni could enter all these planets, both in the material and spiritual spheres, without restriction, as much as the Almighty Lord is free to move personally in any part of His creation. In the material world, the living beings are influenced by the three material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. But Sri Narada Muni is transcendental to all these material modes, and thus he can travel everywhere unrestricted. He is a liberated spaceman. The causeless mercy of Lord Vishnu is unparalleled, and such mercy is perceived by the devotees only by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, the devotees never fall down, but the materialistics, that is, the fruitive workers and the speculative philosophers, do fall down, being forced by the respective modes of nature. The rishis, as above mentioned, cannot enter into the transcendental world like Narada. This fact is disclosed in the Narsimha Purana. Rishis like Marichi are authorized in fruitive work, and rishis like Sanaka and Sanatana are authorities in philosophical speculations, but Sri Narada is the prime authority for transcendental devotional service of the Lord. All the great authorities in the devotional service of the Lord follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni in the order of the Narada Bhakti Sutra, and therefore all the devotees of the Lord are unhesitantly qualified to enter into the kingdom of God Vaikuntha. Unhesitatingly qualified to enter into the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. Text 32. Devadattam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam मूर्छयिता मूर्छयित्वा हरिकथां गायामानस charamyaham Deva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, Dattam, gifted by Imam, this Veenam, a musical stringed instrument, Swara, singing meter, Brahma, transcendental, Vibhushitam, decorated with Moksha itva, vibrating. Harikatham, transcendental message. Gayamanah, singing constantly. Charami, do move. Aham, I. Translation. And thus I traveled constantly singing the glories of the Lord and transcendental messages, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. Purport. The musical string instrument called the veena, which was handed to Narada by Lord Sri Krishna, is described in the Linga Purana, and this is confirmed by Jiva Goswami. This transcendental instrument is identical with Lord Sri Krishna and Narada because all of them are of the same transcendental category. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material, and therefore the glories and pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narada are also transcendental without a tinge of material inebriety. The 7 singing meters, namely Sa, Sarja, or Rishabha, Ga, Gandhara, Ma, Madhyama, Pa, Panchama, Dha, Daivata, and Ni, Nishada are also transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Deva is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument, and thus he is always engaged in singing his transcendental glories and is therefore infallible in his exalted position. Following in the footsteps of Srila Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the sound meters, namely sa, re, ga, ma, etc., in the service of the Lord by constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Text 33. प्रगायतः स्ववीर्याणि तीर्थपादाः प्रिय प्रियस्रवाः आहूत इव मे शीघ्रं दर्शनं याति चेतसीम् प्रयायतः the singing swaviryani own activities tirthapadah the Lord whose lotus feet are the source of all virtues or holiness priya shravaha pleasing to hear ahuta called for iva just like me to me Shighram, very soon. Darshanam, sight. Yati, appears. Chetasi, on the seat of the heart. Translation. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart as if called for as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. Purport. The absolute personality of Godhead is not different from his transcendental name, form, pastimes, and the sound vibrations thereof. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in the pure devotional service of hearing, chanting, and remembering the name, fame, and activities of the Lord, at once he becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Therefore, a pure devotee who is related with the Lord in loving transcendental service can experience the presence of the Lord at every moment. It is a natural philosophy, psychology in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal. Where is it from? Personal. Because is not 1 second. Personal glories enumerated by others. That is a natural instinct, and the Lord, being also an individual personality like others, is not an exception to this psychology because psychological characteristics visible in the individual souls are but reflections of the same psychology in the absolute truth. The only difference is that the Lord is the greatest personality of all and absolute in all his affairs. If therefore the Lord is attracted by the pure devotees chanting of his glories, there is nothing astonishing. Since he is absolute, he can appear himself in the picture of his glorification, and the two things being identical. Srila Narada chants the glorification of the Lord not for his personal benefit, but because the glorifications are identical with the Lord. Narada Muni forces the presence of the Lord by the transcendental chanting. Text 34. एतद् हि आतुर चित्तानां मात्र स्पर्शेच्छया मुहुः भव सिन्धु प्लवो दृष्टो हरिचर्यानु वर्णनम् Etat, this, he, certainly, Atura Chittanam, of those whose minds are always full of cares and anxieties, Matra, objects of sense enjoyment, Sparsha, senses, Ichaya, by desires, Muhu, always, Bhava Sindhu, the ocean of nescience, Plavaha, boat, Drishtaha, experienced, Hari, uh, Charya, activities of Hari, Anuvarnanam, constant recitation, translation. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring constant of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of science on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental personalities of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Purport. The symptom of a living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of the external illusionary energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or which the what is not. That which cannot give them satisfaction is accepted as an object for satisfaction. So, Nardamuni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activities of a living being, nor the feeling, willing, or working process. But if one wants actual happiness, one must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking of the politics of a dying man, one might discuss the politics administrated by the Lord Himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artists, one can turn his attention to the activities of the Lord with his eternal associates like the gopis and Lakshmis. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by His causeless mercy, descends on the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men, but at the same time, extraordinarily, because He is Almighty. He does so for the benefit of all conditioned souls so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the source of all miseries. This is stated from personal experience by an authority like Sri Narada Muni. And we can have the same experience also if we begin to follow in the footsteps of the great sage, the dearmost devotee of the Lord. Text 35. यमादिभिर्योग पथाहि काम लोभा लोभा हतो मुहुः मुकुंद सेवया यद्वत् तथा तथात्माधाम दाह न साम्यति यथा आदिभिः. By the process of practicing self restraint, yoga patahi, by yoga mystic bodily power to attain the godly stage system. Kama desires for sense satisfaction. Lobha lust for satisfaction of the senses. Hataha, curbed. Muhu, always. Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. Sevaya, by the surface of Yadvat, as it is. Tatha, like that. Atma, the soul. Adaha, for all practical purposes. Na, doesn't. Samyati, be satisfied. Translation. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust, but this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul, for this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Purport. Yoga aims at controlling the senses. By practice of the mystic process of bodily exercise in sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating, and at last being merged into transcendence, one can control the senses. The senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is just to control them. On the other hand, Narada Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that devotional service of the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. In the service of the Lord Mukunda, the senses are transcendently engaged. Thus, there is no chance of their being disengaged in sense satisfaction. The senses want some engagement. To check them artificially is no check at all, because as soon as there is some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpent like senses will certainly take advantage of it. There are many such instances in history, just like Vishwamitra Muni, who fell a victim of the beauty of Menaka. But Thakur Haridas was allured at midnight by the well dressed Maya, and still he could not induce that great devotee in her trap. The whole idea is that without devotional service of the Lord, neither the yoga system nor dry philosophical speculation can ever become successful. Pure devotional service of the Lord, without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, or speculative philosophy, is the foremost procedure to attain self realization. Such pure devotional service is transcendental in nature, and the systems of yoga and jnana are subordinate to such a process. When the transcendental devotional service is mixed with the other subordinative process, it is no longer transcendental but is called mixed devotional service. Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, will gradually develop all these different systems of transcendental realization in the text. Text 36. Sarvam tad idam आख्यातं यत् पृष्टो अहं त्वया नघा जन्म कर्म रहस्यं मे भवतस् चात्म तोषणं सर्वं all tat that idam this आख्यातं described yat whatever पृष्टः asked by aham myself, tvaya by yourself, anagha without any sins, janma birth, karma activities, rahasyam mysteries, me mine, bhavataha your, cha and atma self, toshanam satisfaction. Translation. O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins. Thus, I have explained my birth and activities for self realization as you asked. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also. Purport. The process of devotional activities from the beginning to the stage of transcendence is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. He has explained how the seeds of devotional service were sown by transcendental association, and how they gradually developed by hearing the sages. The result of such hearing is detachment from worldliness, so much so that even a small boy could receive the death news of his mother, who was his only caretaker, as the blessing of God. And at once he took the opportunity to search out the Lord. A sincere urge for having an interview with the Lord was also granted to him. Although it is not possible for anyone to see the Lord with mundane eyes, he also explained how, by execution of pure devotional service, one can get rid of fruitive action of accumulated work, and how he transformed his material body into a spiritual one. The spiritual body is alone able to enter into the spiritual realms of the Lord, and no one but a pure devotee is eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. All the mysteries of transcendental realization are duly experienced by Narada Muni himself, and therefore, by hearing such an authority, one can have some idea of the results of devotional life, which are hardly delineated even in the original texts of the Vedas. In the Vedas and Upanishads, there are only indirect hints to all this. Nothing is directly explained there, and therefore Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the mature fruit of all the Vedic trees of literatures. Text 37. सूत उवाच एवं सम्भाष्य भगवान् नारदो वासवीसुतम् आमन्त्र्य वीणां रण रण रणयन् यया यया ययौ यादृच्छिको मुनिः सूतः सूत गोस्वामी उवाच said evam thus sambhashya addressing Bhagavan transcendental powerful Narada Muni Vasavi Sutam. Scroll down, Prabhu, a bit. Vasavi, named Vasavi Satyavati Sutam, son. Amantriya, inviting. Veenam, instrument. Ranayan, vibrating. Yayau, went. Yadrik, wherever. Ichikaha, willing. Muni, sage. Translation. Suta Goswami said, thus addressing Vyasadeva, Srila Narada Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his Veena instrument, he left to wander at his free will. Purport. Every living being is anxious for full freedom because that is his transcendental nature, and this freedom is obtained only through the transcendental service of the Lord. Illusionized by the external energy, everyone thinks that he is free, but actually he is bound up by the laws of nature. A conditioned soul cannot freely move from one place to another, even on this earth, and what to speak of one planet to another. But a full-fledged free soul like Narada, always engaged in chanting the Lord's glory, is free to move not only on earth but also in any part of the universe, as well as in any part of the spiritual sky. We can just imagine the extent and unlimitedness of his freedom, which is as good as that of the Supreme Lord. There is no reason or obligation for his traveling, and no one can stop him from his free movement. Similarly, the transcendental system of devotional service is also free. It may or may not develop in a particular person, even after undergoing all the detailed formulas. Similarly, the association of the devotee is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it, even after thousands of endeavors. Therefore, in all spheres of devotional service, Freedom is the main pivot. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrendered to the Lord does not mean that the devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender unto the Lord through the transparent medium of the spiritual master is to attain complete freedom of life. Text 38. अहो देवर्षिर्धन्यो अयं यत् कीर्तिं सार्ङ्गधण्डवन् वनः गायन् माध्यान् इदं तन्त्रेया रमयति आतुरं जगत्. Aho, all glory to Devarshihi, the sage of the gods, Dhanyaha, all success, Ayam Yat, one who, Kirtim, glories, Sarangadhan Vanaha, of the personality of Godhead, Gayan, singing, Madhyan, taking pleasure in, Idam, this, Tantriya, by the means of the instrument, Ramayati, enlivens, Aturam, distressed, Jagat, world. Translation. All glory and success to Srila Narada Muni because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead, and so doing he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed, distressed souls of the universe. Purport. Sri Narada Muni plays on his instrument to glorify the transcendental activities of the Lord and to give relief to all miserable living entities of the universe. No one is happy here within the universe, and what is felt as happiness is Maya's illusion. The illusionary energy of the Lord is so strong that even the hog who lives on filthy stool feels happy. No one can be truly happy within the material world. Srila Narada Muni, in order to enlighten the miserable inhabitants, wanders everywhere. His mission is to get them back home, back to Godhead. That is the mission of all genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of that great sage. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fifth canto, sixth chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasa.
Haribo.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Okay, let's see how much time we have. Where it is? Okay, now we need to go to six Astakam prayers. We read 1 hour. Thank you so much, Praveen Prabhu, for reading.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Param Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hey, Srila Prabhupada.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिः तत्रापिता नियमिता स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशम् इह जानिनानुरागः
ऋणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिन मानदेन कीर्तनया सदा हरि
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरं कविता जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनेश्वरि भवतात् भक्तरहेतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितां मां विषमे भवाम्बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजं सितदूरसदृश विचिन्तय नयनं गलदशुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलके निशित वपुः तव नाम गृहेण भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्व गोविन्दविहरणेन मे आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनष्ट माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्रानुसनेव नापरः.
Haribol, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O
O Almighty,
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaja Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful uh, Lord unconditionally.
Haribol, Sri Siksastakam ki jai.
Jai.
Bahujannma kare adi shravana kirtan tabutana paya Krishna pade premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses to the holy name are as follows. First offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second of is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth offense to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
Sixth offense to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities Karmakanda.
Ninth offense to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Tenth offense to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired Success, Krishna Prema.
Let us offer our humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Panchakalpatarubhyasya Sindhuve Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Nanda Gaudiya Vaishnava Ki Jai, Shri
Jai
Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaura
Jai
Premanand.
Hari Hari Bol.
Prabhupada.